Oh my god, do I have a video for you today. On the off chance this works, I recorded me going through it in case we could eventually make a video. But essentially, one of our top tier supporters have been rejected now 14 times from guilds. And he was just lost. He was ready to give up. We'd been following our advice, get a guild, get something stable under your belt. So he said, I asked him, he was in our stream, and I said, can you just send me your application? He was like, it's not going to help. Like, the guilds just aren't looking, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, just send me the app. And so I got his application. It wasn't the best. And I just went through and I altered some things and changed it around and just made it a little bit different from everybody else's. New guild within 2 days. And I'm just so over the moon that I really hope this can help you out. It's not going to work in 100% of circumstances, obviously, but it shows the difference it can make if you just put in that extra 5 minutes. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, great opportunity here for us. Is one of our top tier supporters has come to me saying he's applied to 16 guilds and they've all rejected him. And I said, well, send me your app. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make some magic happen, because the app is the best place to put yourself forward. Yes, like a job with a CV, but it's not like a job. You're trying to make your life better in your favorite hobby, and this is the best way of going about it. Why people compare it to a job, I have no idea. It's just that this process looks similar in this little tiny niche, but that's okay. If we spend about, a little amount of time sorting our app out, we should be able to make ourselves a good impression. So he sent me his application that he's been sending out. We are going to go through this. We're going to doll it up, and we're going to see if we can get some better results for our friend here. And hopefully you guys will pick up some things along the way that will help you, because no, I cannot sit down and go through everybody's application and doll them up, but I can just tell you what I think and how to make it better and do all those kinds of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our one app. Right? And then whatever the guild you're applying to will have their system of apps. Some people just say, place your app here. Some people have some sort of website where they have a setup for it. Some people have a Discord channel where they want specific information. All of those are fine, because our one app that we're going to spend my time making will be able to be used on all of those things, and therefore we just win every single time. When it comes to apply to a guild, apply to lots. Apply to every guild. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Have your choice. You are not hoping that one guild will take you. You're trying to get as many choices as you can. So, I've removed any identifying information from this. We're going to doll this up. So, name and class. So, name is name, whatever your name is. Class, druid, DPS. What does this mean? Are you balanced or are you feral? Well, I know you're balanced druid. So, we want to change this to balanced druid, first of all. And I would also do this. People don't really care about your character's name. I would swap this around. Like this. If you have the opportunity, put your name in second, because what they want is the class. That's what people look for. You've noticed in your pugs, right? People are rogue, warrior, druid, whatever. So you'd want to make sure you work with that. Alt name is alt name, but again, we're going to swap this around. Warlock DPS. And we're going to put a comment in here. Provides a lot of the utility that balance may not offer, and is typically very strong when needed as an extra slot. I believe it is a great support to balance. So, what we're saying there is that if we don't want to take my balanced druid for any reason, warlocks are a pretty good choice, right? Warlocks are typically really strong. They provide a lot of that utility you just can't get anywhere else. Gateways, teleporting, being able to put out massive different types of damage with their 3 different DPS specs. That's something, and they're always pretty strong. So that's a really good choice, is what I would choose. Now, you can say this about any of your alts. I'm not saying you should have your alt be Warlock, but you should explain why is your alt this, right? Why is your alt this? So, Balanced Druid, why is your alt, say, a Warrior? Well, we might need Rallying Cry. Okay, we might need extra melee, lol. But whatever it is, tell them why you think you have this as your alt. If you just say, lols, I like Warlock, then, they don't care. They're not going to read that. But if you put it from a raid perspective, because you're putting a raid guild app out there, that's going to be a little bit better. So just let them know why you decided to be a Warlock, and then alt name. Right, about me. All right, my name is X. I'm 23 from Israel. I'm a student currently going for a degree in programming. I love video games in general and titties and K. Okay, we're not going to say this, right? Because although that's a little joke from you, that's going to just upset somebody, right? And we're not trying to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hi, that's welcoming. It's friendly, okay? It's the same thing they teach in when you're going to be someone in customer service. They always want to be, like, friendly, right? They'll teach that to you on day one, whether it's from McDonald's or whether you're working at the high end of sales, right? Which is what I used to do. When you're dealing with contracts that are in the millions, like I did in my previous job, or you're dealing with selling a McFlurry, they always want, it's better to be friendly. People want to be with friendly people. My name is X. I'm 23. I am 23. And currently a student studying programming. My spelling is going to be terrible, but I'm trying to, you know, go relatively fast. I'm studying programming. I have loved video games for all my life, and in particular, World of Warcraft, because certainly when there's a patch coming up that people are a little bit down on, they don't want somebody who might quit. Particular WoW, I have played. They care about your WoW time, right? That's the thing. People care about World of Warcraft massively. Take it from a YouTuber who puts out a piece of variety content, and people are not watching that. These guys really only a lot of World of Warcraft players don't give a toss about any other game other than World of Warcraft, and in particular when they're looking to recruit a new World of Warcraft player, that's what I care about. I have played WoW for 10 years, which I believe is true, but you can put your factor down, and truly enjoy raiding, right? Because they want a raid spot the most. Okay, so that's going to be the little introduction. We don't need more than that. It's friendly. You get a setting. You can even put studying programming, so I have a lot of free time. That's kind of your little joke. So I have plenty of time for WoW. Mention WoW a lot, man. Just throw the WoW in there. Links to character, armory, logs, Raider.io link. So I'm not going to link those because those are his character, but you could put that in there. We're going to come back to the logs later in a different section, because often I think most apps actually have just put the link in a box. So we're going to put something at the end, which we can either put in here if it's something where you put your own information in, or you can put it at the end anyway. All right, raid experience. Here's the thing, right? Who is this guy? I've mostly pugged in my time in WoW. I decided to join a guild in BFA, but I fell out because the level of progress was not enough. Okay, never going to say that. Never going to say that. Even if that's true, we are never going to say that in a million years. And the reason we're not going to say that is because they instantly look at it as somebody who will leave the moment things start going a bit iffy, which happens to every single guild ever in the history of World of Warcraft, from the very top to the very bottom. Sometimes there are slumps. Sometimes you struggle on a boss that you shouldn't do. They're not going to want anybody who might leave. I have mostly spent my time in the pug world. The reason for this was a lack of time. You can say whatever you want, right? A lack of time to commit to a raid guild. Through BFA, I got more free time due to my studies or education, and have now decided to break out of the pug horror. Right? Play into it. This is a community perception thing. Pug horror. And very much want to join a stable guild. Yeah? So that's it. We changed that around completely from somebody who might leave for something to somebody who is... You see the way we flipped it? Right? It's very simple. You can do it in a few lines. We've changed this from somebody who might leave when the progress isn't up to things. And that's your choice, right? That doesn't make this not true. And it's not a lie either. It's sometimes progress... A progress guild, which is why you're there, will grind to a halt and things will go horrible. And you'll be like, well, I kind of want to leave now. That's fine. Every player has that. That's not unique. And a lot of people go, oh, you shouldn't say that. But it's absolutely true. If you're throwing a lot of hours at a raid guild that is just falling apart and crumbling, yes, you're well within your rights to leave. That's not strange. It's not unusual. And it's not something that should be looked down upon. Everybody feels that way. Some people will always stick to the very death, which I did in Classic. Do not recommend. I stayed with the guild for at least 8 months. That was on its death legs. I basically just recruited and geared people to move on to better guilds for like 8 months, hoping our guild would rise. It's not going to happen sometimes. That's the reality of it. We've played a little bit into the Pug horror. We said we didn't have time. Now we do. So now it's ready to move into that. So Antorus, here's our experience. Antorus, Uldia, 2 out of 10 mythic. So we dropped the heroic because we did 2 out of 10 mythic. So we don't need to know about heroic. 2 out of 10 mythic. If you really want to, you can go like this. Yeah, something like this. But they want to know your mythic experience. Mythic is, especially in heroic guilds, which is, if that's what you're joining, then you really want to make sure you've had some mythic. If you're going to join a mythic guild, if you're moving from heroic to mythic, even a little bit of mythic experience is worthwhile, right? So make that the forefront. Nyalotha, 10 out of 10. Nathria, 10 out of 10 heroic. Okay. So, a little bit of raid experience, but that's fine. Okay, why should I be picked? Okay, here's a good one. I'm a selfless DPS who likes to do extra mechanics. I learn stuff super fast. I won't forget it for a long time, and I can adapt to situations really quickly. I know my own skill, and I know my current level and what I can deal with. Okay, so that doesn't say anything. This is very, very generic, okay? It's the... I would put this in terms of raid apps as somebody who's, and I say this as somebody who's looked over thousands of raid applications, right? I've looked over thousands of these over the years of World of Warcraft. This is the social guild trade spam, right? It's the we have bank, we have tabard, you know, that usual nonsense. It's the stuff that you see everywhere that doesn't distinguish you. So let's do this. When it comes to raiding, the main thing I have noticed, especially in the Pug world, is to be the guy who makes sure mechanics are done. As you can imagine, in Pugs, it is always a count. So we're playing back into our history, right? So what have we learned? We've been in the Pug world for ages. Some guilds are going to look at that as like, oh, he's only ever pugged. He's one of those guys. Let's turn that into a positive for a raid guild. As you can imagine, in a Pug, it's always an unknown whether the mechanics will get done. So, in order to ensure my we don't want mine, we're working as a team, our success, I have always taken it upon myself to do those jobs. I will volunteer, which is what he is saying in his initial thing, right? I'm a selfless DPS. I will volunteer whenever I can to do those extra jobs and do them as best as I can. Yeah, that's what we want to make sure. So that's what we're saying. Hey, we did this with Puggers. So I've been in the Pug world all the time. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen and whether or not people are going to do their jobs. So I've decided that I'll be the guy, and that's what's allowed me to get things done. I'll volunteer whenever I get to do those extra jobs and do it as best I can. As you can see, and this is the bit I was talking about before, from my logs. So now we're going to refer to logs. Good set of logs here, actually. I could put up a little thing here, so let me just do this. So let's take a quick look at the logs here. These are actually fine. Like, for a heroic guild or an early mythic guild, these are really good. No issues for me here whatsoever. People always expect something like 90th percentile or whatever. That's fucking stupid. That's really fucking stupid. Like, that's not going to happen. Especially in the Pug world, that's not going to happen. So what we can see is decent set of logs here. 80s, Sludge Fist, 69, pugged it, killed it 5 times, done various different things. But what we can see is we've got 4 kills inside of Nathrius with decent logs. That's good. Stone Legion Generals, which is a big one people are going to look for. And in fact, what we're going to do is even better than that. Is we're going to do this. So we're going to click on, if you click on, I'm not showing the actual log, but you can see here. So Stone Legion Generals, the 78th percentile. That's pretty good. So what we do is if you click on that, you can actually see the growth of the character, which is really useful because we're going to spin this into a positive, even though it's got some great logs in it. So if we go to here, Yeah, if we go to here. All right, so what can we see here? We can see some grays, like from the first time, all the way up to a 78th percentile, right? That's good. This is really good. As you can see from my logs, in particular, I would look at the trickier bosses for pugs, like Stone Legion Generals. Now, we're not going to let them go and look through our logs. That would be crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in the link. Look here, right? If you what we want is to draw attention to the things we want to be positive about, right? As you can imagine, this is a nightmare boss for pugs. And you can see clearly how I practiced and improved myself dramatically in order to be the person you would want in your group. See the way we did this? We changed it, right? So your average Andy, right? Your fucking classic, your complete classic newbie Andy is going to look at this log and see gray and just go, ugh, right? That's the thing. What we're going to do is we're going to show, actually, yeah, it started off gray. And then what I did is over the next few tries, I improved. That's progress rating. That's what it's all about. It's nope. I know a lot of you like have never had the opportunity to first world or to do really high-end, cutting-edge progression, where the answers aren't given to you, right? That's what I'm talking about. Where the answers aren't really given to you, and you have to figure out a lot of stuff yourself. Like, even though the streams of World First Races there, they're very, very, certainly if you're in the high-end raiding world, they're very tailored to that group, right? They're super tailored to the strengths and weaknesses of those individual players. So your Maxes and your Scripes are figuring out how this works within the confines of the group they're dealing with, and that's why you'll see slightly different comps here and there, different setups, different choices. They're working that stuff out. That also applies to like the guilds that are reaching it like a day or so later or a week or so later. Is what they did. You can kind of see the strategy of what needs to happen, but how it actually works is very different. And those guys do a lot of pulls, right? These bosses, in order to kill them, because a lot of people see the kill video and probably think, oh, that fight looks easy. But that's not what you're looking for in a progress guild at all. In fact, those players that you're going up against have probably pulled this boss 150 times. And god damn it, right, their logs would have been grey. If they were compared to anyone else, they would have been absolutely grey for 110 of those pulls until they did what our guy has done here, which is improve over time, get better, and is now somebody who's in the 78th percentile. So that is exactly what we want to be seeing with our applications. We want to show that off, and we want to link specifically to that. So wherever your logs lie, right, and it's very easy to do logs. We've been through that before. It's very easy to go through and figure out and log yourself. Is we want to draw their eye to that and then turn that into the truth. Right? There's no lies here. This person that we're dealing with here dramatically improved their performance on several of these fights. And going through the logs, there's a lot here that started grey and now is like a 95th percentile, right? So it's another good example here. This is Huntsman Altamore, which does have some, unquestionably, it does have some abilities to pad damage, but I actually went through the log, didn't pad damage at all, did it correctly. So you can see again, started off grey, then 54, 57, consistent levels of progress, consistently improving themselves. So that's what we want to draw attention to. So let's do the same. Similarly, if you look at Huntsman Altamore, I'll just call it Huntsman. Link, make sure they go to it. You can see again how I learn and improve very quickly to go from a grey pass on my first try to 95th percentile in just a few kills. Right? So find some strengths and weaknesses in your logs. Like, don't be afraid of your logs. So many people are afraid of logs. Like, oh, I'm being watched and all this stuff. No, if you're doing well and you're learning and you're adapting, okay, now you have evidence of that. That's in your favor. You have the proof of that. And if you, especially if you put these, look, let me tell you, when guilds get a lot of applications, they want to go through it as quickly as possible, right? Some guilds are going to go, have we got any balance druid apps right now? And they'll click it. Okay, so now our app is starting to look pretty good, right? It's starting to look pretty good. It's got a little bit of character in it, a little bit of stuff. There's no negativity here. Somebody will always find something to be negative about, but this is looking much more like somebody you'd like to play with and somebody who is showing with evidence. Look, I get better. I've got to be honest with you, most people aren't going to click these links, but they will take your word for it. And that's the thing. Yes, I can attend every raid in your schedule. It has no conflicts with my education. Okay. Perfect. So then we've got that. In-game UI, so UI link, ISP speed, guild status, no current guild. Expectations. I'm expecting for a stable high-end raiding core with decent guys who get cutting edge every tier. I'm expecting prep and spreadsheets for optimal raid setup and tactics. Nope. Some guilds just don't do that, and they have a different system, which is better. So as soon as you mention, I expect a spreadsheet, no. No. My main, okay, so let's change this. Yeah, a lot of people won't do that. You can have everything from, honestly, the spreadsheet stuff is more very high end. Like in my experience, it's very, very high end. Because it's something, spreadsheets and things like that are something you do for extreme complex fights. Mostly heroic and early mythic progress, which I'm going, because the logs here are heroic, and I guess that's part of the expectation. The logs here are heroic. You're not going to be applying to a guild that's killing Mythic Denathrius, right? You're just going to get swamped. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to get absolutely fucking creamed to the crop. Unless you were born with 25 fingers and have... And even if you truly believe you've watched every video, you've watched Max's videos of every single detail of Mythic Progress World First Rating, they do not apply to you. Right? As somebody who's only got heroic experience, you're not going to be able to just suddenly go into a mythic raid and perform as one of those raiders with thousands of hours experience under their belt. It's just, you've got to work the progression curve that suits you. And honestly, all that's going to happen if you try to apply to a really high-end guild without having experience, at least in the lower levels, is you're just going to get shit on and probably kicked. Because it's just going to be too hard for you, for the most part. Like, no joke. I know people call World of Warcraft easy. Mythic raiding is really not easy. It's really complex. So you need to be learning yourself. So you don't just... Because I think what happens is a lot of people, like, try and get into a Mythic guild. Some Mythic guilds will give them the chance, or they'll just flat out turn you down and they give up. You're applying to the wrong place, right? And we can go back to the job thing. You don't leave school at 18 or whatever your country's end of mandatory education is and go and apply to be a CEO somewhere, right? You just don't. Like, it's just not going to work. It's nothing to do with you being unable to do it at some point, but you're not going to be able to do it right there and then. You need to get some grasp of the field. You need to understand what's happening there, and that's better. It's more fun for you. The simple way I put this is, you want to go somewhere you can make mistakes, because that's how you learn. You want to go somewhere that makes mistakes. If you try to apply to somebody who's in the top 100 now, or even the top 400 that have already killed Mythic Denathrius, those guys are way over mistakes. They cannot be fucking arsed. They've made all their mistakes. They've done that bit, right? They have done that. They're not interested in trying to teach you how to make mistakes. Those guys are looking for people who will come in and not make mistakes, or many mistakes. But the lower down you go, more mistakes you can make. Okay, my main expectation, I'm expecting for a stable high-end raiding core with decent guys who get cutting edge every tier. Yeah. So my main expectation, we're going to change this a little bit. My main expectation is to fit in nicely. You want to be a welcoming member of the guild with a stable high-end, you want to fit in nicely with a stable high-end raiding core with decent dudes who get cutting edge every tier. I have suffered. No, I have put up with pugging for a huge amount of time due to being unable to give my commitment to a single team. That has now changed. And this is where I put in, looking through your logs, streams, if they have them. Most guilds do now in some form or another. It seems to me, you guys oh no, let's say your guild, let's give them some props. Your guild is a great place to play. Yeah? Alright, conclusion here. Pick me cause yes. No. No. Pick me because yes. No, I'm absolutely not doing that. Okay, so the conclusion section is really good. So we've put a lot of information up here. None of it is going to go to waste. And I think that's what a lot of people think when we write apps like this, is that a lot of this is going to go to waste. No. If the place you're applying to does have like a very little box, or they want you to just put links and shit in, they will always, nearly always, have some sort of thing at the end where you can put your conclusion in. And I would copy paste anything you've left up here. So why should I be picked, right? So we're kind of duplicating it. Why should I be picked a conclusion? If that didn't have a why I should be picked, we would just cut and we would put that in the conclusion section, right? And we would use all this information in order to make sure it's in there. This is why we make the one app for every guild, and it can be utilized in every single application that exists in World of Warcraft besides absolute dogshit ones, which I would be worried about in the first place. Remember what an app is for. The app is for the guild to decide whether you would be a good fit for them. Yeah? Would you be a good fit for them? So what is our conclusion? I really hope I have shown my ability to progress, raid, learn, and adapt in order to become a worthy member of any. I believe my logs and performance show this. And we're going to repeat everything I have seen of your guild, because ideally you are checking out the guilds you're applying to and not just going through a list. Because remember, the guild has to be a fit for you as well. Often is just too forgotten, is the guild needs to be a fit for you. Everything I've seen of your guild seems fantastic. And I think I would be an excellent fit. Okay, so we have this like sign-off conclusion that will go with it. Yeah? But again, it's a case of depending on the app and how they want the app, all this could be put down here. And what we want to show is that we've thought about it. So this took us what? Let's have a look here. It took us about 20 minutes to do our app. It's not a case of, and you guys would do this faster because obviously I'm taking breaks in between this to explain what I'm talking about. You writing about World of Warcraft, making your actual guild app should take no more than like 20 minutes. It really shouldn't. This like 4 or 5 hours people are spending on apps is bizarre. You're writing about World of Warcraft. It's like the easiest thing in the fucking world, honestly. So I've taken like 27 minutes according to this, and that's with stopping and talking and explaining my thought process to you guys. So here's our app. It's much better now, right? It's much, much better. We have good information. We have links. We're directing people to experience what we've learnt and why we want to be in there. So I'm gonna hand this back now to our guy and see see if he gets any good results. All right. So fingers crossed, because I'm gonna record this. I'm recording this on the 1st of May. It's actually the 1st of May today. So I recorded this on the 1st of May, and I've now realized that my calendar is not in day, month, year, which is really upsetting me, like sat here talking to you guys. However, we'll see how he gets on. All right.